Would the clerk please call the roll?
Alder Bussey?
Here.
Alder Wood?
Here.
Mayor Miller?
Here. Is there a motion for approval of the minutes of the February 1st, 2016 meeting?
So moved. Second.
Are there any corrections, deletions, or additions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are approved. There's no one here for appearances section. Under item 5, unfinished business, 5A is convening in closed session under Wisconsin Statute Section 19.85, paren 1, paren E, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business, whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. This is regarding the Wisconsin Professional Police Association contracts. Is there a motion to convene in closed session?
So moved. Second.
Second. Motion second. Clerk, please call the roll.
Alder Wood?
Aye.
Alder Bussey?
Aye.
I would like to reconvene in open session under Wisconsin Statute Section 19.85, paren 2. Item 5C is consideration of Resolution 16-2-2077, approving the terms of contract with Wisconsin Professional Police Association Law Enforcement Employee Relations Division. This was tabled at an earlier meeting, the February 1st meeting. Is there a motion?
I move to remove it from the table. Second.
Motion second removed from the table. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Gesundheit.
Is there a motion for approval?
I'll move approval. I'll second.
Is motion second. Discussion?
Yeah, I just want to make clear that as part of my motion, that it is only for the contract and does not include any approval of the attached memorandums of understanding, of which there are 3 that had been attached.
Okay. Did the clerk get that?
I do.
Is there a second? Well,
Yeah, that's just
just clarification.
Yeah.
There's a second to agree.
Yes,
to
I agree with the
clarification.
friendly amendment or whatever you want to call it. Yeah,
The 3 MOUs.
yes.
All
that-
right.
That's the
Further
understanding.
discussion? Hearing none, would the clerk please call the roll?
Alder Bussey?
Aye.
Alder Wood?
Aye.
Contract is approved as amended. Item 6 is new business. 6A is consideration of Resolution 16-2-2078, the purchase, approval of 2 more police vehicles. Chief? They do look nice, though. Did you learn anything at the Chiefs Convention, or was it just partying all night long?
It's a very complicated world we live in.
Oh, okay.
Actually, it was a good conference, a lot of good stuff. This is for to replace 2 vehicles in our fleet. One of them is Squad 117, which is a 2012 Dodge Charger. The other one is Squad 106, which is a 2006 Ford Explorer. Both vehicles have reached the point where when we graded them out with the mechanic's approval, or looking at it, he agreed that it's time for them to go. Particularly the Charger. The Charger, I had the papers over there, but I think we spent about 38% of the purchase price in maintenance costs on that car, and the Explorer is like about 35%. The Chargers, we had to have 2 front ends on it, transmission work. It's just been a bad car. So the proposal is to purchase 2 2016 Ford Utility Police Interceptors. One would be an unmarked car, one would be an unmarked car, and that's through the state bid using Ewald Automotive Group out of Aconwalk. There's 2 different prices here because I had to add, after I started thinking about it, I had to add one with a trailer hitch to pull our speed trailer around because we don't have anything with a hitch on it now.
Is the difference between the budgeted amount and the purchase price the amount to have the equipment added to it?
This is just for the purchase price. The equipment would, we have another $10,000 in the budget for changeover.
Separate from the
Yes.
70, so you just picked up 10 grand, good negotiating skills?
Well, it costs about $10,000 to outfit them.
Oh, that's what I...
Yeah, it's
that's
still going to be
what-
70,000.
So it's still going to be the
All right.
budget.
The whole
Right.
amount you use.
Right.
All right, questions?
Just
Alderwood?
one. what are we going to do with the two vehicles that are being replaced?
Those will go to Public Works. They'll decide if they're going to keep them in the Public Works fleet and replace them with something else, or they'll go to auction.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds like they're not probably worth keeping around, but, okay.
Is that poor cars or Officer Peterson's lead foot?
She didn't drive either one of these.
Oh, okay.
No.
Then it's off the hook.
It's not starred for immediate action, but there is a cutoff date of March 11th, which we could go through another council meeting to that date for final approval.
Okay, we'll see how it flies at council. Thank you. Were there further questions of the chief? All right, might as well stay up there for the next item then, which
There was
is...
no motion, Mayor.
Move
This
approval.
is-
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry, we're...
Finance.
I'm sorry. Motion second, there is a motion, is there a second?
Yeah, second.
Motion second, all those in favor say, oh no. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Alder Bussey?
Aye.
Alder Wood?
Aye.
Sorry about it. Old age is creeping up. Motion passes. Now we move on to 6B, which is consideration of Resolution 16-2-2081, approving a contract with Schmitz Auto Incorporated to provide towing and impound services. Is there a motion for approval?
Move approval.
Second.
Motion second. Chief?
Our contract with Schmitz expired on December 31st of 15. Schmitz has been our towing contractor since about 2005 when Don's Towing went out of business. We've gone through numerous, we went through initial contract and then we had extensions on it that got us to this date. We put out proposals, and the only two companies that put in their bids were Prairie Land and Schmitz. We opened those bids, I believe, about a week ago with Mark and Leah and myself and Lieutenant Weigel. And Schmitz was, they had a slight increase in their fees, but they were still substantially less than Prairie Land, and we've gotten really good service from Schmitz, so we were recommending Schmitz Towing.
Discussion? Questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Schmitz it is. Item 6C is consideration of ordinance 2-16-675, amending section 6-1-4 of the Code of Ordinances regarding sidewalk assessments. Is there a motion for approval?
Move approval.
Second.
Motion second. Is this City Administrator Little or Dan? Dan?
I'll introduce
Mr.
it.
Stefani.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. In your packet, you have a draft resolution to amend Section 6-1-4 regarding sidewalk assessments. The Public Works Committee reviewed this at our September 2nd, 2015 meeting, and they voted to recommend changing the sidewalk assessment policy for sidewalks, for new sidewalks, to have the city pay the full cost rather than the property owner. So we have the resolution in the packet. We have the way the ordinance currently states now, and then the proposed change. The city administrator also forwarded this on to the city attorney, and he provided his opinion on this here issue. So
So my question, Dan, is I live on a stretch of Winnequa where the first sidewalk to the south is a quarter mile away. The first one to the north is a mile away. And if I desire a sidewalk, can I just come in on my 100 feet of frontage and just say, I believe in sidewalks, I want a sidewalk here, build me one?
that would probably have to be looked at and changed, because if a property owner wants to put it in and they want to put it in at their cost, they would have to do it to city specs because it's in the city right of way.
But are
But-
we
but-
going to have hodgepodge sidewalks popping up all around, or is this only sidewalks that are,
The intent would be to entertain sidewalks when we do reconstruction.
okay, all right,
But that's not spelled out in here, but
right.
maybe
couldn't-
at council or here, that's something we kick around, but
Alderwood?
Yeah, I think if you look at paragraph C of that section, it talks about whenever the council shall order construction of a sidewalk. So, even if somebody says they want a sidewalk, unless it's approved, by the city, that,
Okay.
like Dan said, they're putting it in our right of way. So they,
Just wanted to make sure Alder Bussey wasn't calling for a sidewalk in the morning. Alder Bussey?
But what about commercial properties? If some of the areas that we have of sidewalks going in,
Mhm.
city going to have to eat that, or how would we, typically that would be borne by the developer?
That's what needs to be cleared up. I think at Public Works Committee, the discussion focused on residential. And,
So should we, if we want that addressed, would it be wise to table this and have it come back? April's raising her hand.
That's why I had that same question. I noticed we often have the same questions, so I did ask the attorney about that. I know we don't have probably very many areas this pertains to, and what Bill says is that typically when we're going to do a large development, we're going to do a developer's agreement. So, we can negotiate pretty much anything we want to in that agreement, so that's kind of our out clause. But I think if you had a certain project where, like you said, you got to retrofit it and it's kind of developer controlled, you could be faced with that situation where the city would be having to pay those costs. But it shouldn't happen very often, and I have lived in cities where there are hodgepodges, like little sections of sidewalk here and there, and it's harmless, but it doesn't hurt anything, I guess. But I have seen that done.
Yes.
I guess I'd hate to be in an argument with a developer where they point to our ordinance here that says that the city pays for it, and now why are you trying to make me pay for it? So I'm wondering if we could maybe table this and have it go back. And the other thing is, why are we doing this? Why does the city want to pick up this burden?
It was introduced or requested by Alderperson Thomas. She wanted it on our agenda. It was passed unanimously by the Public Works Committee. The reason why it's appearing now so late from September is because she thought it'd be a good winter topic for discussion here at council. So,
What do other communities do?
they're typically they are assessed 100% new to the property owner.
So why do we want to be generous with the taxpayers' money?
Might be a question better asked at council.
Good answer. I guess my opinion on that, and Alder Thomas can obviously speak for herself, as I'm sure she will, is it's sort of to overcome the resistant, at least one part of the resistance that we see to sidewalks. That,
Right.
In terms of, city attorney had actually recommended in his email, or not, his preference would be just to delete that whole paragraph E on assessment and rely on the statute, and which would give us more flexibility. And because I think that is a good, point. If this ordinance says that we shall pay, the city shall pay for the sidewalks, that makes it more difficult, I think, in negotiations with developers to vary from that. So,
Yeah, this is such a hot issue anywhere you go. And like Bill said, if you take that out, you have the flexibility to do what you want. But on the other hand, then you got the fairness argument. And
right.
ideally, the way it's done is a new development goes in, the sidewalks go in. It's when we are retrofitting, that's where the problems come in.
Mm-hmm.
Because the fiscal impact would be, I think, extremely hard to judge over time, because how much of a stretch are you going to do at a time, how many streets at a time. It could really add up to a big impact. I agree.
But anything we do is going to be retrofitting.
I mean, like someplace like, in the riverfront area, putting in pathways or whatever would be kind of new.
I do think that almost all of our commercial development it's all obviously pretty much redevelopment, and most of the time at least, they're in a position where they want something from us, TIF, or usually TIF money, and that gives us some flexibility, but
I'm just trying to think where this might happen from a commercial acquisition of properties, and I struggled, other than up by the high school, if somebody would buy all the houses behind the jeweler and our properties. I could see maybe if somebody bought all those houses. But other than that, I just could not get my head around where this might come into play.
We didn't have any examples of commercial properties at the Public Works Committee.
What is the current policy, though? If it's replaced, it's 100% paid by us, correct? Or is that?
I think if it's replaced, I think that might be 50% cost share between the city and the property owner. New is 100% property owner. I'd have to double check that one, Mark. That'd be in the assessment section, but
Assessments for streets, once the street's done.
Okay, so there is a motion and a second for approval.
I guess,
Want to
I guess I'd like to table this.
before you make that motion, since that's not debatable, I would request, then I think we need to maybe try to get Bill to come to the city attorney to come to the next meeting and kind of go into a little more in-depth on what the options are before we approve it.
And is your request going to be to table this so that it goes back to committee first, or?
I mean, there were some questions brought up tonight, yeah, and I think
So
that
you
we need
want
to,
go back to Public Works first before it comes here, so it wouldn't be
Correct.
the next meeting for Bill, the attorney, to come to?
right.
Or would it be?
I guess I would my preference would be that we would table it here and it would come back here. I don't know how much it would be gained by going back.
Well, I mean, the whole, how we handle non-residential property and what happens, I mean, a redevelopment is, the riverfront area is a redevelopment. So, if there's somebody, I mean, I guess I'd like it to go back to Public Works and then have Bill here, like you said, when the time comes, but.
And with the riverfront, for personal experience, the more clarity we have in things, the better it's going to be in those negotiations. I mean, they're
Yep.
hard
Yep.
all the time.
Yep.
And I'd just soon not spend days and hours talking about sidewalks.
so the main question for Public Works Committee is how do we handle or address non-residential property for sidewalks? Is there another?
And I'd really like to find out why we're doing this, so I'm sure Alder Thomas will share that when she returns, but.
At least she will
Okay.
be here tonight, right?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah. And also to specifically at Public Works discuss the riverfront, what they're thinking about that.
So,
So,
for
yep, before we go there.
So I think the appropriate action for this committee would just be to table it and then leave it up to the council whether to refer it back to the committee or not.
Fair?
Okay, somebody want to make a motion?
I did.
I'll second the motion to table.
So you're just going to table it
Table it.
until the
Yep,
next,
we had discussion, just
until
table it.
the
yeah.
council,
Right.
Decides their course of action.
okay.
All right, there's a motion to table this item. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Alder Wood,
All right.
Alder Bussey,
Aye.
All right, motion is tabled. Thank you, Mr. Stefani.
Thank you.
Item 6D is consideration of Resolution 16-2-2079, amending the contract with Strand Associates for Bridge Road reconstruction design and construction administration services. Is there a motion for approval?
Move approval.
Second.
Motion second, Mr. Stefani.
Thank you, Mayor. The Public Works Committee did approve this amendment at our February 3rd meeting, and it's here at Finance and then first reading tonight at Council. In your packet, you do have the resolution and the fiscal note, as well as the draft scope of services or the draft change to the Bridge Road design contract. I've also included the initial contract for Bridge Road design, and then a justification sheet that Strand had put together for us for your review. So what this boils down to, we have a 2016 capital budget allotment of $260,000 to complete design for the 2017 road reconstruction project. The amendment is for $247,900. Combined design, that would be $331,000. The 2017 construction-related service expenses, it's an addition of $219,000. Combined total, $291,000. The project would be referred to the 2017 road reconstruction project. And on the fiscal note, the areas outlined for reconstruction in addition to Bridge Road would be Toniawatha from Winnequa to Progressive, Schultz from Toniawatha to Winnequa, Dean from Winnequa to Toniawatha, Progressive from Toniawatha to Winnequa, and McKenna from Dean to Greenway. McKenna would be one street that we would entertain sidewalks on. That did come up in committee because it's a street that's near Dean, which has sidewalks, and then also near the school over there. So they would look at sidewalks for that road.
So Dan, help me understand. This is called Bridge Road resolution.
Yeah.
But we're talking about these other streets. We started design in 2015. We delayed Bridge Road reconstruction because we didn't have a developer.
Yep.
I just, are there any financial impacts because we delayed it being covered in here? I couldn't sort through, maybe it's just me, but.
The initial contract was for Bridge Road design, which they have pretty close to being done. What we're waiting on is where the openings are for the riverfront development and the connections for utilities. So in essence, that design is done. So we're sitting on that.
Okay.
The amendment is to basically add our local road design services onto that contract. So we have one engineer for construction observation, bidding, and administration.
Is there a reason why we would add it and not just do it as a separate Strand contract? So Bridge Road would be a Strand contract, and is there some benefit to?
I don't think there's any benefit to whether we do an amendment versus having a different contract with Strand. Strand has a great track record here with the city. There's efficiencies by having Strand complete the design.
Does this preclude from going to bid, though, by adding them as an amendment?
Well, we have two engineers that we're working with, Verbecker and Strand.
Our three engineering.
Right, and SES, the staff that we've worked with has parted ways. So, but I don't know. Coming from my point of view, it'd be preferable to amend the Strand contract because we already have them under contract, versus going out and seeking prices. So.
Okay. Questions? Hearing none, would the clerk please call the roll?
Alder Bussey?
Aye.
Alder Wood?
Aye.
All right, resolution passes.
Thank you.
Item 6, thank you, Dan. Item 6E is consideration of resolution 16-2-2080, approving a contractor agreement with Accurate Appraisal LLC for assessment and revaluation services. Is there a motion for approval?
I'll move approval.
Second.
Motion second. City Administrator Little.
At our last meeting of City Council, we met with Jim Danielson from Accurate Appraisal and reviewed the proposal that he submitted with him. The other proposal was from Associated Appraisal, and the council voted to go forward with Accurate Appraisal's proposal, and this resolution now is to approve the contractor agreement, which is fairly long and detailed. It's based on model contracts from Department of Revenue to make sure we got all the correct details in it, since it's a 4-year long contract. I wanted to make sure that we didn't have any confusion or anything like this. And it's been reviewed by the attorney, and Mark looked at it, and Jim Danielson, and everyone had said it looked okay. Some of the highlights are the cost is $42,000 annually, and there's no additional compensation for example, if they have to furnish testimony in the courts or in front of Department of Revenue for some things like their software maintenance or website hosting. And also, apparently, we have asked them to, in the past, mail assessment notices to all properties, not just properties where the assessments have changed. So this says that they would not charge us extra for the postage on that. We can terminate this contract upon 30 days written notice, which is kind of standard how we typically do things, I understand. And then on beginning page 8, it kind of goes into the scope of work, and there's kind of two different things we're asking them to do. One is the annual maintenance assessment, so whenever there's a building permit, any kind of change, then they will update the record. And then on section 2, there's the part where they will do a walkthrough physically, interior and exterior, of all of the properties within the city, so that they will have seen each property at least one time over the course of those 4 years. And my understanding is how they really do this is they kind of pick sections where the home types are similar and the classes are similar to make sure that the comparisons are as close as they can be. So at the end of all the 4-year inspections, the properties will be up to full taxable value, and the records will be updated so they can capture any kinds of changes or building permits that may have been missed over the last several years. So that is some of the highlights from the contract. If anybody had any questions?
If you didn't get a chance to watch the last meeting, Alder Wood, I thought the owner of the company did a very good job of explaining his position and side, and it seemed very palatable to me. Understanding, not totally understanding why things happened the way they did, but he explained it from his viewpoint adequately that I think we all agreed. So.
But just in the interest of, some of the history and some of the confusion that may have happened in the past, I wanted to kind of start with our own contract and take a lot of time and put a lot of detail into that contract. And, that's why it's a little longer than usual. And I made sure everybody looked at those sections I just highlighted so everyone had the same understanding, because misunderstanding might have been some of what happened in the past. So.
Alder Wood?
I did have a chance to talk to, I think it was Alder Spate, about the meeting and his presentation, so I'm familiar with what he had explained. I guess one question I would have is, he's still suspended by the state till May 1st. Do we have protection in this agreement in case something happens and he's still, if it gets extended, or I'm assuming that, if he's suspended, he can't do the work, right? So.
They have another principal, so the other principal would be to sign off on it.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
Also on page 11, Article 2, B1, qualifications and conduct of personnel, it says all personnel providing services. So in other words, the inspections shall be currently certified in compliance with state statutes and administrative rules prescribed by DOR. And they'll conduct themselves, obviously, professionally, so, yep.
Okay.
That I made sure was in there.
Further questions? Yes, Mark?
Just so I wasn't, tonight it's not started, but if you guys, just so the council, there's a lot of deadlines to make and delayed another couple of weeks just to approve it for the second read. There's, it
That's a
just
good point.
furthers it back, so it's something to think about.
I had planned on trying to get the council to move it ahead because we had thoroughly gone through it last time, other than these conditions. Further discussion? Hearing none, would the clerk please call the roll?
Alder Wood,
Aye.
Alder Bussey,
Aye.
Resolution passes. Item 6F is approving the proposed corrections to the staff organizational chart, which is the first time I've ever seen an organizational chart here. So
Refers to it in the policy manual, and, I've been poking around, reading stuff, and I just happened to notice there was a few things that kind of
thank you.
didn't add up there. It says that we're supposed to actually have an authorized position count and annually approve this, but anyway.
One of the benefits of new eyes. and
New
fresh
eyes,
blood.
right. Just a few changes. The Broadband Telecommunications Committee, somewhere along the line, you must have changed that to Community Media. We are missing the Landmarks Commission. We are missing our new Planner and Economic Development Director. And that should be on with the other department heads. And I think the building inspector and the city assessor should be, they should have like dash lines, because those are contract employees, as I understand it. So those are the changes. And the next iteration, when we look at this again, Lee and I thought it'd be nice to put the departmental position count as a table on the end there. That way we all know how many officers and public works folks are out there. So little crib sheet, on the front cover. So
I compliment, this is not easy. I mean, it looks simple when it's correctly put together, but drawing those lines is never easy to know what goes where exactly. So you're to be commended, and Leah, thank you. Questions?
So it says approving, so are we just going to table this until it comes back?
we could if we.
Why does it need to come back? Oh, because you wanted to
You
add
wanna make those
Just to
changes.
show,
I mean, there's
just
stuff
to
here
show
that's
with
not
the
gonna-
corrections, yeah, Leo was sick last week.
We've gone 8
so
years without it, so I suppose we could go another.
We can bring
So
it
you want
back.
us to table it?
Sure.
Move to table?
Second.
Motion to table. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Again, thank you. Item 7 is acceptance of the general fund accounts payable checks dated January 29th to February 11th, 2016. Mark?
Yeah, not a lot of stuff, just kind of day-to-day business. I'm just going to kind of hit on a couple things. Page 3, Johnson Trees.
Can we first go, I just did not understand, it's minor, but
Yeah.
couldn't understand Capital Newspapers. We paid them for intake outfall project? Is that for an ad? Or, oh, that's an ad. Okay, I just didn't understand what that
I
meant.
didn't see where it was.
Okay.
Page 3, just getting on, little things add up for us. Kaiser Ford, one of our vehicles, had it in for repairs. It's $1,800. Go back to the tree service. We saw that the Christmas tree service, that was done.
Why was that broken into 2 invoices instead of just one?
It's one invoice, 2 separate accounts.
Oh.
So
What,
part of it goes to general fund, part goes to stormwater.
Christmas trees?
Stormwater?
It's all stuff that gets in the drains and stuff.
Keep it out of the street.
Just keeps off the streets.
Oh, okay.
We've been doing that for years.
Interesting.
Okay. Makes
Those
perfect.
needles in there, and those leaves.
Perfect
it goes
sense.
right into that
Pollution.
stormwater, into that
Okay.
lake, and it pollutes it.
I'm
It's
sold.
been okayed by the auditors. so-
Okay.
Okay.
And that's Baker Tilly that did it.
All right.
They've looked at that, actually. Madison Met and Sewers District, the Yashar Watershed Adaptive Management fee. Page 5, just SCS Engineering, Schluter Park. Design is underway. I believe they said today the bids will come in on Thursday. So we'll have some numbers for you fairly soon.
A general question, a lot of these are tax changes, rebates, refunds. What triggers that? I mean, I get my tax bill, there's a number, I pay it.
Yep.
Why are some of these off by $30 or something?
Yeah, a lot of times people will pay from their escrow. So a bank won't actually look on access date or call us what the exact amount is, so they'll give them what they have in their escrow balance, and it might be off by $30, it might be under. So you have it both ways, where they have to pay a check along with the escrow check.
Okay. All right. Yeah, never.
Sometimes people will try to pay by December 31st, and then the escrow check comes in, so there's different ways with that. Page 5, Tasers International, just some police department for training. Let me see here. Page 7, bank card services. Just want to hit on this. It's just another thing that Joan watches for us. She gets our, so basically, like any credit card, you get some rebates back. So we do get money back for the credit card, and Joan monitors that for us and gets the money for us. So we do get money back for using our credit cards. Underneath that, voluntary medical. It's just in this EMS supplies. It's just, just showing what it's expensive just for little things, and they add up for supplies. I think that's.
Are you on page 9 yet?
Sure, go ahead.
Page 9 on the sportswear, DS, second from the bottom.
Okay.
So basketball uniforms,
Yes,
that is for the rec department?
that's
I
for the rec
assume?
departments.
And who's paying, I mean, are those kids paying for those uniforms? And how does
Wondered
this all
that too.
wash in the budgeting out of the rec budget?
Part of it is covered by the fees, and part of it's part of the property tax levy. So the whole fees don't cover the whole amount. But their, fees cover that, and then they got to add in the refs and things like that. So it's not 100% covered by fees.
And the revenue from those fees goes into
The rec department's
rec
fee.
department
Yeah.
revenue. So it does kind of reconcile it through the
Yeah.
budget, or?
Yeah, it's all
It's not.
reconciled.
Okay.
I mean, but it's not 100% covered by the fees. I mean,
Okay.
there is a portion that's not. Page 12.
Can we
MG&E.
just go to page 10? I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm waiting for you to.
Yeah.
So Fat Jack's.
Yep.
Meeting meals, what was that about on page 10?
I'll give you more detail, but it was a fire department meeting, so I don't know if they ordered in for the volunteer, or not the volunteer, for a meeting. But it was for fire department training, maybe. Yeah,
It was a real number.
but it is for the fire department, professional development. Anything else before page 12?
No.
Yeah, the boiler repair and the hose tower heater, is that an ongoing maintenance issue, or did we have a problem?
First time.
Page 11, dealing with Kilgust.
Yeah, Gilgus.
See here.
Yeah. They're both repairs that they were just one-time fees, or one-time expenditures. But I can get from Erica exactly what happened, but it seems like those boilers and those heaters do cost us a lot through the years, and every year we have some type of charge for those. Page 12, just want to hit a MG&E, and Brad's going to be here one of these meetings at the council meeting, I believe, and kind of go over our solar power and all that stuff that we've had, and give a little presentation on that. So he'll be, now we got the fourth quarter numbers in too, so that should be coming fairly soon, probably next meeting or two. Page 13, pump tires, replace some tires for the ambulance. It's a $300 expenditure.
Can you explain up above that Matco Tools why we have like we have 9 invoices, all equal the same dollar amount? Was
All
that
this-
one big tool?
No,
The
it's,
same invoice, Mayor, split this many ways to split the use of that tool across all the departments that use
So
it.
it went in the stormwater fund?
Yep.
If you drop it down the drain?
I can ask Dan exactly what tool.
Dan's here, yeah.
Dan.
Dan? Excuse me, but Matco, we had 9 invoices, each of $355 or $360 for $3,200
Exactly what tool that was?
Do you know what that tool is that we divide 9 ways?
We purchased a large set of used tools to restock our shop tools. We split them 9 ways. So rather than one budget take it, they're going to be used among 9 budgets or 9, I don't want to call them departments, but 9 divisions, if you will. I think the total came to like $3,200 for,
Right, it did.
there was probably about 60 different tools that we were intending to purchase. So once he receives the check, then we would get our tools. It's a going out of
So
business.
there's a used tool business out there?
No, it's a mechanic who had to leave the mechanics field because of injury, and we saw an opportunity to buy some very good, high-quality Matco tools. They have lifetime warranty, and basically half-price purchase. And a lot of these tools hadn't been used yet, so the nice thing is their lifetime warranty.
Good job.
Do you know what the actual savings would have been roughly if we had to pay
Half
all
price,
right?
you said?
At least half price, so
half
you're
price,
looking
at
at double, at least double.
Great, great.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry about that. Page 14, licensed printing services. This is Jake's department for the snowshoe hiking banners. I just want to bring that up. And that's all I have.
Is there a motion for approval, or any questions on anything? Is there a motion for approval?
Move approval?
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Checks are approved. Is there a motion for adjournment?
Move adjournment?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.